All right, so I welcome you all once again to today's class. We are going to continue from where we left off the last meeting. Last meeting, we dealt with the critical difference between public sector and the private sector. And why do public sector exist, please? If there's no public sector, there's no need for you to learn public sector accounting. Take notice. Public sector accounting only comes in when there's a public sector. So if there's no Ministry of Finance, would there be private account? No. There's no need for Ministry of Finance account to be published. So you must know why public sector exists, and all this we dealt with them. So can you go to the lecture video for the previous slide to get updates? And then we move with the game. If you see any more function with the system, please report as soon as possible so that our technical team will take it over and then handle it. Last meeting, we dealt with the difference between public sector. Last meeting, we dealt with public sector. We dealt with public sector institutions and private sector institutions. Private sector was institutions. And they are very important. Please take notice. We did this one. And we talk about the difference between the objectives. So what are the objectives for public sector? What are the objectives for private sector? We talk about the objectives. Then we talk about PAC, public sector accounting. Then we talk about private sector accounting, what the issue. PAC, so we don't call it private sector accounting. Instead of that, we are saying commercial or business sector accounting. So that is that. So take notice of that. All right, so that is that. Please take notice. I believe strongly that you have gotten this one clear. It's fundamental, it's basic. Although at these recent exams, I see they are not asking questions of this nature. I think this side, yes, the questions on the PAC and the commercial or business sector accounting. You must know the difference and the similarities between the public sector accounting and then the commercial sector accounting. And then we move on with the game. All right, so please take notice of this. Now, if you have not gone through this, go there and then have it done so that we can move on with the storyline in peace. So today I am adding on. Yes, I'm adding on. We mentioned that one of the key objectives why public sector institutions exist, we said that it exists just to balance the inequalities. If not because of public sector, certain institutions, the less privileged or the poor will not have access to it, as in police or military. ECG, water, even air, it will be sold. If you leave a private man, he will create an atmosphere where everybody go there, you pay visa. So that is why public sector institutions have to exist. They exist to provide public goods beyond the ability to pay. You see, some of the citizens, the ability to pay is not there. But certain rights should not be taken from them if you don't have the ability to pay. So that is why public sector institutions exist. So they exist to provide goods beyond the ability to pay. They provide goods to their citizens beyond what? Their ability to pay. And then that is that. All right, we went further to classify public sector institution. We classify public sector institution based on two categories. What are they? We said that in terms of funding and in terms of what? Power. So that is what we did the last time. Good. So go through that and then you are free to go. Today we are continuing where we left off the section. All right, so that is that. We say by power, who is the highest up to the lowest. By funding, you see, some of the public sector institutions, they are self-funded, and some too solely depend on government. Some too partly on government, partly on IGF, internally generated fund. And then that is all. Take notice. All right. So all this has been dealt with. So take notice of that. And today I promised you that I will do what you call government business enterprise on the list. They are the ones that have the least power. Yes, in the public sector, those that have powers in terms of MDs, boards, the authorities, and then the tertiary universities or tertiary schools, public tertiary education, local government, MMD. Yes, up to the public corporations or the public corporations or state-owned enterprises and GB, they have the least power. So today we'll pick it from there. When you say state-owned enterprise, or we call them public corporations, government company, you get it? Public corporations. Or government business enterprises, GB. Government business enterprise, GB. And we move on with the storyline. Now, when you say GB or state-owned enterprise, these are institutions. I call them, in fact, public sector entities that are in to make money, make profit. You see, we always said that the public sector institution or public sector organizations or entities, they are in not to make profits. Yes. You see, that's one thing that you have to know. Yes. Any country who want to develop beyond development, what you have to do is that whatever private man does to make money, you must have about 60% or about 20% of your money coming from there. For example, so the idea of this state-owned enterprise, GB and Co, is to support the government in terms of what? Funds. For example, any industry that we have, there should be a government sector or a government company operating each of the industries. So when it comes to bank, there must be state-owned bank. When it comes to graphic or media, there must be state-owned media. When it comes to manufacturing, there must be state-owned manufacturing companies which make money. So when it comes to transport, there must be state-owned transport for the state. So that in events where taxes are becoming low, government can rely on them to finance by tax turn upside down. Since the demise of our first president in 1972, all the state-owned enterprises have started running loss. And I don't understand. Yes. So now the issue is that the state-owned enterprise is supposed to rather run at a bigger profit to support the development of the country, because the idea is that they are going to run on their own, like the way private companies are being run. That is all. So state-owned enterprises, or GB, they are government business. The word business means profit, please. The word business, it means profit. It means commercial. So when the government set up a business, that means the government also wants profits, wants money, because we cannot develop the country with only tax or only debt. If you go and borrow more, the word debt, to me, the definition of debt simple means you are what? You are locking your future taxes, because we use the future taxes to pay for the debt. So the more you are borrowing more, the more you are locking up taxes. So in that case, we could have just toil on the GB to provide what? Funding, and then move on. And then we move with the game. Okay, so basically, that is it. So take notice of that, and then we move on with the game. All right, so now, so this GB, what are their unique characteristics? They don't behave like normal public sector entity. No. Normal public sector entity are not in to make money. They are in to make sure that the welfare of citizens are high. Normal public sector institutions are in to produce public goods, irrespective of the ability to pay. They have to produce public goods to the citizen, irrespective of the ability to pay. But with this GB, it's not like that. So you can't tell me that state-owned transport, State Transport Corporation, STC, I don't have money, so I'll go and sit inside and say that they should take me to wherever I'm going. They will sack you one time. They are in to make money for the government. If it's inside STC, please pay. If you enjoy Kufuor bus, pay. Yes, all those ones were created to support the idea to generate money. Unfortunately, it has tended to be what? A loss-making institution. It's not a problem. So basically, that is that. So that is what we are going to talk about GB, their characteristics. Their characteristics, and then that's all. So let's go straight to the game. All right. And then we'll move on with the game. All right, so the first thing we'll talk about is, now we know who GB they are. So they are granted power to contract in their name. So they transact business. So they are features, unique features. One, they conduct business. They conduct business in their name. So they can make business. So when they are signing contract, it's not government of Ghana. No, you're operating on their own. So take notice of that. Again, they have what you call financial and operational authority. Or GB, they have what you call financial and operational authority. Simple means they have the power to make their own financial decisions, like the way MTN Ghana does. MTN Ghana doesn't need any approval from the states before they make their decision. The same way the GBs do, we expect them to do. They don't need any government approval. They are on their own. Government will come, government will go. GB will still be there. That is how we have made them. Again, they sell goods and services in a normal business to earn profits. So they sell goods and services to make profits. So they are in to make profits. In fact, whoever started that and did this, they've done what? The copyright. So that number 4, this one will make the government more efficient and a lot of avenues to raise money. In fact, they do not rely on continuous government funding. Take notice. They do not rely on continuous government funding. Take notice. They do not rely on continuous government funding. I'll explain why we use the word continuous. All what they need is their setup. If you start that company, or if you start it, let's say 60 million Ghana cedis to set up maybe something like fertilizer manufacturers, Ghana Fertilizer Company Limited, maybe a state-owned enterprise or a GB. They need an initial capital of 60 million. You give it to them, that's all. They have to make sure that they can use this 60 million wisely to the extent that the government of Ghana can also get some return. Do you get it? Good. So it's not like anytime government of Ghana have to providing continuous. As and when the need arise, government can step in, but not as continuous. Like Ministry of Finance, MOF, they need continuous government funding because they don't generate money on their own. Yes. So take notice. So the way Ministry of Finance will operate is different from GB, how they also operate. They just need a startup. And then they are free to go. Number 5, they are being controlled by government. That's all. They are controlled. They are controlled by government. That's where the issues start coming. Simple mean the ownership. The ownership, please, they are owned by government. It's about the ownership. Anywhere you say control, you are talking about ownership. You see, there are two things in business, and we don't joke with them. And anyone that joke with them, but you won't understand business. Ownership and management, or control and management. Yes. Control of a company and management of a company. Most often, they are in different hands, or always it's in different hands. And that is why it creates a lot of issues. If it's in the same hands, there will not be any problem. And that will never happen. That you are the owner, you do everything, you manage everything, you can't. Forget it. You can't. There's one company, if you are going to the Tama stretch, on the motorway, the owner tried to manage. The day the owner died, in fact, the family members sell, in fact, they sold all the machines. They sold the land. The company collapsed. If you try to manage it. So management and ownership are different. Control simple means ownership. So this GB, government own them. Government controls them. So the government can take entitlement to the returns. So I'm going to mention a lot of GB that we have in a country. And then most of them have diverse more. We know them. We don't want to mention those who have diverse. Other than that, we tend to fight. All right, so examples of GB. Examples of GB. Last time we gave examples plenty. Today we are going to give more of them. Look, examples include the NIB, National Investment Bank, State Housing Corporation, State Transport Corporation, Graphic Corporation, CAPOA, Ghana Port and Harbour Authority. All these ones are there. And then take notice, they are in to make money for the states. All right, so that is that. What are the sources of revenue to them? Sources of revenue to GB. Don't forget that they are in to compete with the private man. And this has built some of the Western countries, yes, especially China. Any country that believes that the government can produce something and sell them, the government can produce something and sell them, that country have a very shorter way of developing. That country have a shorter way. But any country that believes that everything should be in the hands of the private individual, such countries have a long way to develop. Yes. So take notice. The source of revenue to GB, they are first, they get their funds from revenue from operations. Yes. So revenue from operations. Or source of funding. Let's make it source of funding. Where they get their funds from. Source of funding. So source of funding for GB. They get their money from revenue from where? Operations, yes. They sell goods and services, so they operate and get money. So that's where they got their money from. All right, so take notice of that. That's number one. Number two, All right, so that is that. Revenue from operations. They operate. They operate. So they'll get funds from it. They also borrow money. So funding. Yes, you can't take borrowing from funding. It's everywhere. The third one, they can also probably rely on leasing and others. Leasing or credits, suppliers credits, or any means by which a private must secure fund. GB can also do the same. So take notice of that. I've already given you examples. NIB, National Investment Bank, State Insurance Company, SIC. Yes, they also GB. They're supposed to make money for the state too. They're supposed to make huge profit for the state. Then graphic communication group. Yes, graphic communication groups. They're also there. All of them are there. All right, so basically, we are done with the game. Now, let me do one important section and we move on with the storyline. Yes. Most important section. Users of public sector financial reports. Users of public sector financial reports. So this is highly examinable, but we will not ask it direct like state the users. I won't do that. Forget it. In olden days, we can do it, but now, no. Look, we are in AI era. So all the questions too must also be advanced. So I'll show you how such questions can be asked in a modern way. Users of public sector financial reports. So who are the users? We have grouped them into two main classification. Take notice. For public sector, the users. This is coming from the IPSA board. That is the International Public Sector Accounting Standards Board. We have classified the users into two. Resources providers to the government and service recipients. So we have users that provide the resources. So resources provided. Resources providers to government. Now, resources providers to the government. To government. Now, good. I'll take that. Citizens and go. Yes. Resources providers, those that provide the resource. You know them, right? We have the resources. Then we have the service recipient from government. service recipient. Service recipient from government. Service recipient. You see, these people, in fact, they only receive from government. From government. Okay, so these are the main categories. So now let's start and then talk about them. Please, each user that you talk about, so let me put user here. Now, when you write the user here, please tell us the needs. What is the needs of that user or that user's interest? That is all. So let's go. So basically, we have the two groups. Those that provide resources to us, to the government, taxpayers, donors. So they provide the resources. And those that also receive resources from government, of course, communities at large, the local governments or local governments. The local government also takes resources from where? From the government. So take notice of that. Now let me list all of them. Food infra, combine all of them. The general list, we have Parliament. Parliament. So when you talk about Parliament, please tell us their interest. Parliament, what's their first interest? Parliament of Ghana or Parliament of Niger and Parliament of Nigeria, what's their interest? You see, Parliament, they assess the accountability of government. They hold the government accountable for their decisions. So they assess the accountability of government. That is all what Parliament they are interested in. Again, they determine how the citizen comply with the national budget. They assess the compliance, the national budget. They assess the compliance to the national budget. Let's make it national budget, NB. I hope you are aware that national budget is a law. When it is being approved, it's a law. So Parliament have to assess that. Finally, Parliament assess the performance of the entities or the public sector entity. So anyone that feeds from the Consolidated Fund of Ghana and you prepare the account, Auditor General audit it, present it to the Public Account Committee, that's a subcommittee of the Parliament for review. So in that case, we can say that Parliament assess the performance of public sector entities. So they assess the performance of public sector entities. Let's make it PSE. PSE. Yes, Parliament doesn't have time. Come and assess the performance of MTN Ghana, which is a private sector, unless their activities conflict with our constitution So long as what a private sector or a private company will do, MTN Ghana will do, and it's not in contradiction or it's consistent, Parliament don't assess them. Take notice, this area is highly examinable. That is why I've slowed down. Anytime I reach the highly examinable areas, I mostly slow down. Please, if I've not gone to the earlier video, please do so, and then move on to the game. Again, we have the citizens. When I mention the citizens, I'm talking about you and I. Yes. Ghanaian citizens. Now, the citizens, they are made up of two. We have those that pay tax and those that vote. Yes. All of them are what? Citizens. Those that pay tax, we normally call them tax payers or residents. And those that vote, voters. Yes, we have those that pay tax and those that vote. In Ghana, those that vote are more than those that pay tax. They should do in a way that before you vote, you must pay tax. This one, no one will pay tax because I don't want to vote. Okay, that's so interesting. Now, citizen, what will be their responsibility or their interest? You and I, in fact, the only thing that we can do is to hold the government accountable for their decisions. The way the parliament holds, you see, the entire public must hold the government accountable. But there are two ways. We have some people that when they talk to the government listen it attentively. And we have some people too, when they talk to the government, it's like an ordinary air that passes the back of the government. You and I, we can hold the government accountable, but it's not as strong as the parliament. So whatever parliament is doing, he's doing it on behalf of the citizen. We're supposed to hold the government accountable, but can you hold them accountable? You can only do that by giving a right vote. Have you seen? Please, no campaign, I'm begging you. By electing qualified, competent leaders so that the leaders represent us at the parliament and therefore they can hold the political leaders. They can hold the general leaders, the president, the ministers accountable for their decisions, and then the rest. So take notice of that. So whatever parliament does, they are just doing it on our behalf. All of us, you and I, we don't have seats at the parliament house to go and sit on so that we can hold the government accountable. We don't have that seat. That capacity doesn't exist. We are over 31 million. There's no room. There's no hall in Ghana here that all of us can go inside. Unless they do it Zoom, conference meeting, Zoom call. Yeah, that one, all of us will take the microphone and voice out. So the citizen too, their duty or their role is to, one, hold the government accountable. That's all. Hold the government accountable. Hold the government accountable for its actions. Again, to assess the cost of service delivery, yes. Please, every citizen, you must assess the cost of service delivery. Service delivery. They say they have constructed borehole to a particular community, and they spent over 10 billion US dollars. You must assess the cost of service delivery. Very important. All of us are in the country, and in fact, they told us that they have spent 53 million Ghana cedis to feed some people while the COVID came. As a patriotic citizen, that you always shake our flag. Yes, please go forward and ask them who and who and who and who. Let them do the calculation for you to see that indeed that 53 million Ghana cedis that was spent within, I think, a week or so, or 3 weeks or a month. I don't know whether it was up to a year. The entire population in the country are 31 million, but few during the COVID time can consume what? 53 million. Well, so as a citizen, please, this one I leave it to you. Get a breakdown, assess the cost of that particular service government of Ghana delivered during the COVID 2020. So get a breakdown and assess it. That is your duty, please. If you assess it, it doesn't go well with you, then you use the power the Constitution have invested in you through your thumb to do a new selection. Have you seen? Good. Please, you are not doing campaign here. We are begging you. This is for teaching purposes. And we are picking real life examples. And then you also decide the fate of elected members. Yes, citizen, your responsibility to decide who will rule you, who will come and rule us. We select good leader. So as a citizen, we select the leaders. Leaders can never select themselves. Like, there's no leader that can say that me, I'm a president of Ghana on my own. Never. It is we, the citizen, we can select. He himself, he have only one power, just one vote. He can't bring him into power. No wonder there was one president that came to the country. They vote in his area. When they finished, when they counted, he had 3 votes. 1, 2, 3. If I had 3 votes, meanwhile, the family members, they were 7 in number in the morning, that he himself drove all of them to the police station and he got 3 votes. So it tells you clearly that, in fact, some people within his own family don't even vote for him. So as a citizen, our interest is to elect a candidate, a member that have the required skills to lead the nation. Please take notice. That is what every citizen, it is your duty. So please, the exams tell us that citizens, our interest is to select competent leaders, or leaders who have the skills, or not even the skills, leaders who can lead, not leaders who are thirsty and hunger for power and what? Political fame. Yes. Those people will come and then they'll, like, when they're hardship, please, if you're very far from the forest, you may thought the forest are one. If I've not driven the car before, you might say, oh, driving this car is very easy. If you get behind the wheel, that is where you see the real pressure that comes in the vehicle. You thought vehicle is just turning the steer, right? Get behind some of the vehicles, especially some of the V8s. Yes, I learned those ones. The vehicle itself is very heavy. So you feel the heaviness behind the wheel. That is how it is. So please and please again, as a citizen, this is our responsibility. This is our interest. Good. So that is that. Now let's go to the next one. Because this is due for exams, I'm taking my time to explain it very well to you, because due, it is what? Due. Okay. Donors and sponsors, all of them are in the same category. Donors and sponsors. So donors, who are donors? And sponsors, World Bank and Go. Those that sponsor, or they normally give us grants. You can talk of grants, assistance. Yes. So what do you think will be their interest? Anyone that's supporting us. First of all, they need accountability. Yes, donors, they hold you accountable. So if they have pump up, let's say $5 billion into your country for a certain project, they require you to render a faithful account. So accountability. Next time when they appear and you have nothing to tell them, that ordinary snake swallow the money from your parliament, next time they will not come again. As we saw in one of the countries very close to us, that's the green and white. Snakes swallow some of their money from their parliament. Donors are also interested in what you call compliance to the grant condition. Compliance. There's no money that will be for free. So compliance with the conditions. So that's what they are interested in. And then they also assess the performance of the funds, of the donor funds or grants. And then that's all. Then we can also talk about creditors. Creditors is anyone that can at least lend money. So here, creditors, very soon we know the types, but let me list some of the types here for you. We have multilateral creditors. We also have bilateral, neighboring countries. Neighboring countries, their help. And then the multi is the other institutions. And then banks, it can be local banks. Yes. Banks can also give funds to the state. And then the rest. All of this are users of Government of Ghana's financial reports. So take note. They just want to see whether the government can meet the obligation. So it's just to assess the compliance to the debt covenant. One, compliance to the debt covenant. One of them is recently, Ghana went for IMF bailout of $3 billion bailout. And the issue was that, the covenant was that Ghana needs to restructure its public or its domestic debt. So restructure your domestic debt. So I don't know, some time ago, yes, our program came to Ghana. Domestic Debt Exchange Program, DDEP. Yes, it was a covenant that was attached to that $3 billion bailout. So all what you're trying to say is that every creditor is interested as to if you can meet the covenant, the condition attached. And the repayment of loan, so that's the first thing. Repayment of loan. And then repayment of loan. And then China is taking over some African countries' airports. because they failed to pay their loan. Repayment of the debts. Yes. China has taken over the entire nation's airport. Number two, why? Repayment of the debts. All right, so basically, you've gotten enough, and then we move on with the rest. Investors, yes. Investors in government securities. Good. Who are those? We have investors. Government also call for investors. Individuals or institutions that normally pump money. That's the bond holders. Let me make it great. Bond holders. And the other one, mention them, the other one. The T-bills, yes, T-bill holders, treasury bills holders, and those, all of them are investors. They have invested in government securities. They also need the reports. And then rating agencies, yes, rating agencies, some of them recently downgraded Ghana's credit score and became a news, not knowing other institutions have commented that the rating was done wrongly. Yeah, these rating agencies rate your country so that if you are going for external loans or debt, the creditor may assess your ability to pay easily. So you can have rating agencies like S&P 500, Standard & Poor's, S&P, Standard & Poor's, Standard and Poor's. Good. S&P 500. We also have the Moody's and Fitch. Moody's and Fitch. All of them are rating agencies. All of them recently, they've rated Ghana. Some of them have put Ghana at a very low level. That is why most of our loans come with a lot of restructuring, a lot of covenants. Because if you are giving money to someone in which the person's credit score is very bad, the only thing that will entice you to load the person with a lot of condition. Don't do this. If you take their money, don't buy V8. If you take their money, don't buy mansions. If you take the money, don't change your cloth. Wear the old one like that. Take the money. But if you know that the person can pay, you give the money to the person without any condition. Just take the money, go. I know you that you bring my money back. Do you get it? So S&P and Moody's, they are the ones that causing Ghana to, in fact, incur additional cost when I'm going for these funds. Because they always degrade our country. Only once that one of them upgraded our level. In that case, when we're going for debt, it will be very easy for us to get the money. Yes, without what? Several conditions. Because internationally, before World Bank, IMF will come to your assistance in the form of debt, these credit rating agencies must rate you. Yes, they must rate you that you are the type that anybody giving money to you is safe. If they rate you that is not safe, you are in trouble. That one, when they give you the money, they will use padlock to lock the entire country. Lock. And then you move on with the game. All these are what? They are users of government report. Moody's will use Ghana's reports. Ghana's financial statement that if you are prepared. That is what they use to do the rating. That is what they use to do the rating. So they are also what? Users. All right, so I'm done. And I'll move on with the game. Now, all what we are doing, they are super important. Types of financial reports. So types of public sector financial reports. What are they? Basically, there are two types. So types of public sector financial reports. Public sector financial reports. Basically, there are two types of public sector financial reports. We have what you call general purpose. General purpose. General purpose. Yes. General purpose financial reports. General purpose financial report. Then we also have special purpose. Special purpose financial report. There are only two types. You see, when you say general purpose financial report, that one, in fact, let me explain the special one first. You understand when I come to the general. Special purpose financial report. Here, by virtue of some of the users, they have authority. Some of the users, they have authority. So it is requested by users with authority. Some of the users have authority to command financial statements. Imagine you want a loan from a bank. The bank will tell you that, please, we need your financial statement. Give us your current year financial statement. Give us 2 years projection. Yes, you will prepare because you need a loan. You need the money to work. That is how it works. So special purpose, some of the government or public sector institution users, they have authority. They have authority like World Bank, IMF. If you're going for facility, let's just assume that this 3 billion bailout from IMF, 3 billion US dollars bailout. Imagine this. IMF can tell Ghana that, please, before we hand over this money, give us your tax. In fact, they even requested it. Give us the tax report for the last 5 years and give us your projection for the next 5 to 10 years. Give us projection for last 5 years and the next 10 years, your tax. You know what you're going to use it for. So they can request for it. You and I, we are citizens. We cannot request for it. Why? We don't have such authority. We don't have such authority. And the special purpose financial statement, they are prepared based on requirements. So it's not like we have prepared it there, that you say it now, we give it to you. No. Some of them come with unique features. So as and when they request, we make it available to them. Special purpose financial statements. Some, take notice, some of the users, they have authority, they have power to command the public sector entity to produce reports. So that report is only for them. It's private. Nobody else can read that report except them. Confidential. So take notice. That's the very first one. Special purpose financial statement. As the name suggests, special purpose. Special purpose. All right, so aside that, we now have what we call general purpose. Good. Now, for the special purpose, they normally need it for a particular purposes. The purposes are not the same. For loan, for projects, you see. Government of Ghana can secure funds or can ask the world's best construction companies, those that construct the nicest and longest and beautiful tunnels. Yes. Especially in Egypt. The recent one they constructed, we clap for them. Yes. So imagine that the Egyptian contractors have said the government of Ghana, we are coming to construct underground tunnels for you. There's a lot of traffic in Accra here on your roads. We've seen it. We are Egypt there. We can see all your roads, the traffic, especially your capital city. So we are going to construct underground tunnel that for free. But we need one thing from you. We want your report. Give us reports on roads and amount spent on roads and small revenue, the tools that you normally generate from roads, so that it will inform us on how we should do the construction for you. So we need it. Yes, the Egyptian contractors have the power to request. Government of Ghana will produce it, and then they'll use it. Now let's go to the other hand. General purpose. We call them the living legend. For those who don't have power to request special financial statements, one logo line, you join the queue. Those who don't have special appointment protocol, please join the queue. So these ones are for those who are joining the queue. So for general purpose financial statements, they are to meet the needs of users who cannot require for specific financial statements. This one you can say is tailored made. Here is for users who are unable to require special purpose financial statement. Users who are unable to require special purpose financial statement. Take note. And this is the one that's being published. So it's for the general public. General public. So this is what you and I normally see in the newspapers. Normally see flying all over. Because we don't have the power or the authority to require special purpose financial statement. All right, so that is that. Now, the general purpose financial statements are prepared in accordance to ensure fairness to all use. That one, everybody use it. Everybody use it. So they are prepared to ensure fairness. General purpose financial reports. 1. They are prepared to ensure fairness because everyone uses it. Again, they are not for a particular stakeholder, a particular user. Everybody, like I said, everybody. They comprise of multiple reports. Yes, multiple reports. So that report have a lot of things. Where you want to go and read it. World Bank, IMF, or the donors, those who have the power. Special prosecutor, auditor general, and co. They can call a particular public sector entity to produce a particular account. That one will be tailor-made. It will not have multiple per the requirement of the receiver. Unlike the general purpose, anything you want, you can get it from it. And then that's all. Because these sites are due for exams, I have to take my time. So that if you go, it does not come unless you come and skin me alive. But don't worry. Now, the general purpose financial statements include financial statements and notes. So let's give the breakdown, the component of general purpose financial statement. It's comprised of one, statement of financial performance. So it includes financial performance, statement of financial performance, statement of financial performance. It also includes statement of changes in net assets, statement of changes in net assets or equity, changes in equity. It also includes statement of financial position, aka balance sheet. I remind you that if you have not gone through the earlier video, please do so. We also have cash flow. So statement of cash flows. Then we also have what you call budget. Budget. So normally, either you have your budget as a column to your financial statement. So budget. Again, the financial statements include notes. The notes, which are made up of accounting policy. And all these are due for exams. Accounting policy, accounting policies. IPSA 3. IPSA 3 is due. IPSA 32 has dropped 2 consecutive times. So if you clean the 2 from there, so you see permutation, you will do that one at back office. Don't worry. Just read on IPSA 3. The rest is storage. Okay, so basically, that is the note. It's comprised of accounting policy and explanatory notes, disclosures. It includes judgments or assumptions. For the purpose of your exams, it includes policies and workings for the purpose of exams, workings, show workings. Done. And I'm done. Please, the kind of information provided in the general purpose financial report, it normally provides information about the entity, how it sources its funds, allocates and use it. So this is how it talks or how it explains that. So how the entity finances its activities. So that is all about the general purpose financial statements. All right, so in view of this, we have entered into what you call the conceptual framework. The conceptual framework. I think that's what we are looking at for. Now, first, there's something called qualitative characteristics of general purpose financial statement. You see, they are 6 in number. And this one thing. Take notice. So characteristics, that one appeared last in. So let me move fast away from that. Characteristics. Let me do this. All right, so basically that is that. Now, we are going to talk about the qualitative characteristics of general purpose financial statement. Qualitative characteristics of general purpose financial reports or financial statement. All what you are trying to say is that okay, so I'll repeat it again. All what I'm trying to say is that the general purpose financial report that we are presenting to the users, those who cannot afford to request for a private information, it must possess certain qualities, certain attributes, certain features. What are they? It makes the report very useful. So what are they? So we have qualities that this financial statement must possess so that the financial statement becomes very useful. Take notes of that. So to achieve this usefulness and the main objective of this information, certain unique features have to be in place. For those who have done financial reporting before, basically it's the same story we are trying to say here. So third examiner, ISB. The International Public Sector Accounting Standard Board. I don't know how you will call it. The private version is called ISB. So you call this one IPSASB. Okay. It should be a new discovery. International Accounting Standard Board. International Public Sector Accounting Standard Board. They have identified there are what? Six. There are six of the qualitative characteristics. 6 characteristics. What are they? First of all, we have the fundamental ones. You see, we have the fundamental. There are 2 in number over here. We have faithful representation. Faithful representation. In another word, reliable. The financial statement must be reliable. Must be trustworthy. Must be reliable or reliability. Reliability. Yes. Reliability. So take notice of that. Reliability. And then the rest. The next one is relevance. Must know all this and their meanings. Relevance. Relevance. So then we have the enhancing. They are also 4 in number. This one is 2. Enhancing 2, they are also 4. So it's A, B, C, D, E, F. No, I'll do the rest there. C, comparability. D, understandability. E, verifiability. You see. F, timeliness. You just have to understand this. This was someone's question. This was someone's question as it appeared for someone. Take notice of that. Good. Oh, okay. I get it right. Last sitting, the users never appeared. That is why it is due for examination. But the qualitative characteristics appeared for 3 marks. Oh, okay. So take notice of that. For 3 marks, it appeared only for 3 marks. It tells me clearly that it must appear again, second coming. But this time, it must be in a different language. So second coming of the qualitative in a different form. I have the form in the notes in your question and answers on the digital page. So please, if you have access to the digital page, check the conceptual framework questions. The form is in there, how it will appear. Ditto what? Ditto. This time around, we started early. This time around, we have started early. No need to wait for 11th hour again. So take notice of that. All right. All right, so that is that. So now let's pick them one after the other and do justice to them. Please take notice so that you will have it for a second because of the marks. Because of the marks, several factors come into it. Because of the marks. So take notice of that. All right, so now let's start explaining them. What is faithful representation? What is faithful representation? When you talk about faithful representation, what's it about? Faithful representation. Now let's go straight. The word faithful representation simply means that the financial report should be the one that we can place some reliance on it. So representation. Faithful representation. Faithful representation. Meaning reliable. Reliable financial statement. Take notice. Good. When you say faithful representation, all what we want from you is that tell us that the financial statement must represent the general purpose financial report, must represent the economic reality of the entity. Economic what? Reality of the entity. It means the financial statement must represent the true and fair view of the reporting entity. True and fair view of the reporting entity. Good. Don't forget that your first trial work on question 1 comes off after today. So go to the assignment after today. Visit the assignment page, download the work assignment, and capture your question 1 for exams. Please take notice. True and fair view. Here, you see, when you say faithful represented, the financial statement shouldn't be too far from the reality on grounds, the actual performance. The general purpose financial report must reflect the actual performance of the entity. No massage, no window dressing, no big bath accounting. You see, some of the financial statements you see in town has been dressed, has been bath with the nicest soap, and after that it has been perfumed. So you see the financials, like the way they have edited movie, the way some of the movie look very nice. Go and practice and see what will happen. Yeah, so all I'm trying to say is that let the reality, the actual issues on ground reflect in your financials. That's all. With this, I can applaud the public sector. For them, they don't really massage their financial statements because it's the government that sponsors them. They don't. The appetite to massage financial statement in public sector is a bit low, except for in some cases. For that one, the appetite is there. Yes, I don't want to come there. I don't want to come there at all. That one, the appetite is there. Certain funds that cannot be accounted for. Yes, certain funds cannot be accounted for. Those ones are there. Because the private man, the appetite to win people is there. For that one, the massage it has become a normal practice. That is not what we want in general purpose financial statements. It must be devoid, free of what? All forms of what? Massage. Now, to report faithfully, the financial statement must possess some ingredients, some qualities. One, tell the examiner to report faithfully. The financial or the general purpose financial reports. The general purpose financial reports must be one, complete. Everything must be in. Don't hide stuff. Two, neutral or unbiased. Fairness, unbiased. The accountant in question, he will select a policy that will favor only few people, their position. No, we don't want that, please. Last one, it must be free from all material errors. Free from all material errors. And that's all. These are the things that we want you to write in exams, like last sitting, the way it came. Last sitting was 3 marks. So that 3 marks, we just want you to write just one sentence. Even if you write sentence 3, we are okay. Or me like this, write 6. Right? Give us 6 sentences. Each of them is half. You are done. Get 3 points. Now the next time that this will come, or next time that is dropping, the marks will be a bit deep. And it will require a bit deeper explanation. So take notice of that. All right. That is why I've slowed down. Anywhere is due for exams, I have to slow down. All right, the fourth one, financial statements must be reported at their substance. So tell the examiner the transactions and events. Transactions and events must be reported. are their what? Substance. And their substance. So take notice. So we normally report transactions as their substance, not a mere legal form. So we have lease in public sector financial statements. So as a result of that, I'm done with faithful representation. Let me go to relevance. When we say relevance, what are we talking about? Now, the financial statement must be able to influence the decision needs of the users. So it must make difference. I normally call it shaky. You see, relevant information is the one that can, in fact, it can change things. It can make a difference. Any information that can make a difference is what? Relevant. Take notice. Information that can make what? A difference. Information that can shake. I call it shaky. Information that you hear, you don't even close your eye. It's still relevant to you. Like the way when the COVID started, we thought it's far in the Asia, in the Europe, to never come to us. Because the distance is very far from where. By the time we close our eyes and open, COVID issues are relevant in our country. Take notice, things that can make difference or can shake. So I call it shake, power of shake. Certain information, when you hear them, you don't sleep. Yes. We are not sleeping at all. All Pan-Africanists, we are not sleeping at all. Yes. Because some of us have begun to what? Attack our own fellow blacks. You see? So now, this is a relevant issue to especially people in the Western Coast. All the Western Coast, if you check the map, Western Coast like this, all those people, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, Nigeria, Niger, Burkina, Algeria, back to Chad. Yes, to the other side. This is what? Relevant matter. It's relevant because it can make what? A difference. Bro, so that we can get onion to consume. Yes. Just recently, about 12 trucks of vehicle loaded with onions from Niger were stopped and blocked. Were not allowed to enter into Ghana. They were asked to go and offload the onions before the empty trucks will come back to the country. Yes, matters are right. These are relevant to issues, things that can make difference, things that can influence us. So take notice. Unfortunately, the season that we are in it too, most of the onion farmers are complaining because the shower of the rain is destroying it's rotting the onions. And hence, there's a likelihood that when Niger says that they're not going to supply us onions again, and look at the weather too, we can also, so the little we have in the country, we have to consume it like that. Good. So relevant what matters. Okay. Now, the general purpose financial report is relevant if it is capable of making difference in achieving the objective of financial reporting. It's relevant if it can make a difference. If it can make a difference. And that's all. In achieving the objective of financial reporting or the financial report. You see, relevance simple means ability to influence the decision needs of the user. It can also mean like ability to influence the decision needs of the user. Of the users, yes. So that's what you mean by what? Relevant information. I'm done. You see, relevant information have two roles to play. Relevant information is the one that help the user to confirm the past. We call it confirmatory rule. Confirmatory rule and predictive rule. Predictive rule. Predictive rule. Now, relevant information is the one that can help me confirm my past predictions. And at the same time, will help me to predict what will happen tomorrow. That is why when you prepare financial statements, you normally prepare two. So if, for instance, this is 2021 and 2020 financials, the government revenue raised through taxes, tax revenue was somewhere, let's just assume that it was 50 billion Ghana cedis. 2020 was somewhere 48 billion. Then, in fact, 2020 there was a revenue loss. Imagine, based on this, then you also predicted that 2022, I'm expecting something like 55 billion Ghana cedis tax revenue. So in 2022 financials, before 2022 financial will make sense to me, before 2022 be relevant, they should tell me, they should bring 2022 financials here, and they should bring 2021 so that I can confirm my predictions. Now, the actual versus what I suggested. So all what I'm trying to say is that relevant information should help me to predict the future. That's what they give us to, and to also confirm our past predictions. To confirm what we predicted last year. That is all. So take notice of that. It all works on materiality. So material informations or transactions are relevant, automatic. All works on materiality. Take notes of that. And then we will move. And then we move. Now the others, understandability, the others, we could just explain them, then we move on. Understandability. Understandability, why you show yourself? Good, let me explain comparability and understandability. So we're on the comparability now. Comparability. Ability to compare. So ability to compare the financial statements. So you must at least compare financial. So a useful financial statement should be the one that we can easily compare with other financials. Easily compare with other financials. Easily compare with other financials. And then that is all. Take notice of that. Now, comparability. Why do we compare? We only compare to assess performance. To assess. Without comparability or comparison, we can never assess performance. Yes, let's just assume. From this end. Let's just assume that your first child, they don't really like mathematics. Studies have proved that first child doesn't like mathematics. But for those who like, they are the Archimedes, they are the best in mathematics. They don't like it naturally, they don't really like it. They don't really like it. So your first child came home with a mathematics of, let's say, 75% in school, final exams, whether WAEC, whichever exams, 75, mathematics, first child. Are you going to praise her, or you are going to reduce her feeding money? What do you do to her? Is it a sign of encouragement or disencouragement? With this, you can never say. Unless you compare. So the actual benefit of comparing is to know the actual performance. So if the child comes home with 75, and so what? 75 have done what? Look at something. When you compare, what about the last performance? What about last performance? The last performance. Maybe the last performance she had 55. Oh, what? You have done well. The last performance she had 95. You've not done well. Or the first person in class had 76 and she had 75. At least you've done well. Or the last person had 75. He was the last. Or in the family, nobody have scored core mathematics in the entire family, the entire generation. Nobody have scored 75. Or in the entire generation, that family, it only, they score 90 up to 99.99, in fact, up to 100. And you are the very first person to bring 75 in that family. That is how we analyze it. So anytime we do comparison, it's only to review performance. That is all. So you see, 75, someone will score 75, they will clap for the person, they will do party. They will call all the family members, go and pay homage to that particular person because he is the first in the family. Send the same 75 to another family, you receive lashes. They will kill you well that you did not perform. You are bringing shame to their family because from that family's bloodstream, 75 is not part. It's from 90. If you want to fail at 90. We don't accept anything less than 90. So what 75 is giving someone a glory. 75 is giving someone a painful story. That is the comparison. Because we want to achieve performance. So anytime you hear the word comparability, the essence is to obtain performance. We don't just compare for fun. We don't do that. We only compare to extract the actual performance. Yes. So take notice of that. Again, to compare very well. Now, after performance, what do you do? All of them for decision making. All decision making runs through all of them. Why do you understand? I understand to make decisions. Why do you have faithful representation for decision making? So for decision making, it runs through all the qualitative characteristics because the ultimate goal of general purpose financial statement is to provide some sort of information to make decisions. So it runs through all of them. Now, to report or in order to enable comparability, there must be ingredients. So to enable comparability, there must be one, consistency. Be consistent to, I also call it uniformity. Be uniform. Don't be changing the accounting policy. Once you've adopted it, keep it the same. If you're changing the school for your child, you will know the true performance. Keep them at one school to see the performance. That's what I say. Be consistent with the policy you adopt. Number two, adequate disclosure. And what? Timely. Must be on time. And that's all. I'm done. Understandability. The financial statement must be readily be understood. So understandability, yes. Verifiability. Third party can go through external party. That is the Auditor General. For example, Auditor General should go through. You see, some of the financial statements, Auditor General cannot go through. He must call the accountant who prepares it. So if you prepare financial statement that auditors cannot go through, and they have to call you, always, please. It's not the best. It's not a good financial report. Good financial report must speak for itself. Everybody can go through. It's like a AI. It's like a self-monitoring device. It can do everything. With or without accountant's presence, someone else should verify the account, please. So accountant that prepare financials, that when external parties comes, you must be there before they can verify, please. It's not the best. Again, I like this particular point because in exams, the answers that you are going to provide, make sure that external parties can verify, typically the examiner. So if you produce answers that the examiner cannot verify, no verification, no results. Like the way Men's Gold is saying that come and pay 650 Ghana cedis so that you can verify whether it owes you or not. Yes. So pay 650 cedis for verification. And about 60% of the customers, verification did not work after receiving the 650. All right, so that is a game. Wow. Timeliness. The financial statement must be prepared on time. Please, your trial work. Know all the government report, the deadline. Government deadline for government reports, please. Check the deadlines for me. Know all. So that's your trial work. Timeliness. The financial statement must be on time, not too early, not too late. Not too early, not too late. Last sentence question require you to do just one line explanation. It doesn't require you to go further. Good. Because it was 3 marks, please. But this time around, the mark will be 5, 7, 10. Then we end it there. We can't go beyond 10, please. We are begging you. And then we end it there because there are a lot of questions we can ask you. 10 marks. We cannot go beyond 10. So take notice of that. All right, so basically, that is that. And then we move on with the game. Now let's go to public financial management in Ghana, PFM. So that is where we have reached PFM. It's also part of the storyline. It's also part of today's storyline. Don't forget that today we'll come to the history of the day or matters arising after every lecture, just 5 minutes after every lecture. No problem. History of the day or matters arising. Okay, so let's go. We have something in public sector that you must know. We call it public financial management. It's usually come in question 5. What a wow. We also have the PFM Act. You have the new PFM Act. Take notes. Public financial management. Normally come in question number 5. So question 5. Take notice of that. That is where you can get a question 5 from. All right, so I'm almost done with the chapter 1 for today. What a wow. Now, when we say public financial management, there's even an act. Public financial management, you see, let me break it down. The word management, what's the meaning of the word management? For those who have done management before, please, does not mean economics, so we are begging you. Management. Management simple means, the word management simple means efficient allocation or use of resources. That's all. So if you hear management anywhere, want to use things wise to achieve a particular objective. Anytime there is an aim, it calls for management. What a wow. Hey, anybody that wants to achieve something, it calls for management. Anyone that does not want to achieve anything on this earth, please don't manage anything. We are begging you. Anyone that does not have an aim, don't need management. So public financial management, the word management simple means we are allocating, we are using our resources very well to achieve a particular objective. There's an aim. There's an aim. Yes. So that's the management aspect. Now let me say public financial. The word public financial means public purse, public money, or public financial resources. So if I add the word public financial resources to the definition I gave you, I'm done with the PFM. So if you go to the examiner asks you to describe, tell the examiner that when you talk about public financial management, that one talks about what? Efficient use or allocation of what? Public financial resources. Of what? Public financial what? Resources. Not just ordinary resources. Because private man also learn management. Target professional consult, we also have management. Yes, we also manage because we have an objective. Other than these classes, you can tell that we'll close at next day morning. No, we can't do that. We have to manage the time. Because the time is not for us, it's for someone else. So public financial resources, you see, to meet public needs. That's all. I like the ending story, to meet public needs. Don't forget, there's always an aim or an aim to management. Anyone that have a lot of things in abundance that don't know what to use it for, look how they use them. You see, the last time someone dashed you $150,000 into your account, look how you use the money. Because the money was not the one that you work for. Look how you use the money. $150,000 was remitted into your account. Look how you use the money. But the one that you work for, look how you use the money, different. Anytime there's an aim, we try to adopt management to achieve the aim. After the achievement of the aim, what happened? Item 13 and enjoyment. So after the aim, after we have managed, and then that is all. So please take notice of. So there will be a section in the Public Financial Management Act, the PFM Act. So please, I'll ask you to maybe get some sections, the PFM Act, and then you read it from me. So take notice, PFM Act. I have some uploaded on your digital page, the digital library. I will also upload the rest over there for you. And I'm done. Now, when we talk about public financial management in Ghana, what are some of the procedures, some of the issues? Tell examiner that PFM, public financial management, involves the following. Give me examples. Anything that helps Ghana to use its resources effectively is part. Mention this one there. When I ask you to explain, let's say 3 of them, this one is open up or is open-ended question. Or explain 3 issues or explain 3 public financial management. This one, plenty. You see, revenue mobilization. Yes, revenue mobilization. Revenue mobilization. Revenue mobilization. Again, allocation of revenues collected. So revenue mobilization, I can use the allocation too. Yes, allocation. We know a country where they raise tax to pay salary. So they raise the tax to pay salary. So they wait to tax bill rate, wait to tax. So if you divide all the salaries they pay divided by the tax revenue, you are getting like close to 70 to 90%. So that means 70% of the taxes they pay back to salary. So now the collection costs have not come in. The vehicles, the fuels that they use, the meetings, item 13, allowances, those ones. That's some country. Then budgeting. Budgeting is also part. Accounting and reporting is also part. This one you can say plenty. Accounting and reporting. All of this. Evaluation and then control. All of this. Evaluation. I'm done. You see, in a typical financial management cycle, the process, you see, the PFM comprises of process, procedure, and people to be effective. Before public financial management be very effective, it normally comprises of what? It involves process, people, of course, process, people, and procedures before it will work. People must carry the action. Procedures, methodology, process step by step, like national budget. National budget. When we start the budget, you get to know this deeper. And then we move. Now, the relationship that exists, you see, who can tell me the relationship that exists between public sector accounting, on the other hand, and public financial management? Who can tell me the typical relationship? The issue is that the public sector accounting is about just reporting on the use of financial resources. And public financial management is also talk about all issues in connection with how we acquired and use money. Issues about what? All issues about efficient use and collection of financial resources. So in a way, PSA is a subset of public financial management. This question number 5, question 5, the latter part of it. PSA is a subset. So you see, so PSA, public sector accounting, is just a subset of what? The PFM, public financial management. So one aspect of it is what we are learning. On that note, we are done. All right. All right, so my next meeting, I'll be doing the accounting concept, basis, and techniques. So public sector concept, basis, and techniques. That is what we'll be doing next meeting. So we'll be talking about the accounting concepts. There are 3 things you must know: accounting concept, basic techniques, and then the rest. We'll look at them. So that is that. Please take notice of the story. And for story of the day will blow your mind. The story of the day will blow your mind. In fact, this story is very dangerous. So very dangerous.